Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour podcast. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books to video games and everything in between. My name is Aidan, and I hope that you're doing well today. This is Season 4, Episode 11, and today I want to talk to you about my top 10 favorite superhero teams in comic books. Now, as someone who's been reading comic books for most of his life, I've seen the majority of the superhero teams that exist or have existed, both in the comic book format from which they originated, as well as the adaptations in film, television, and video games. And throughout those various forms of media, I have grown to either love or hate certain groups of superheroes. But as I said, these are my favorite of the teams. So, with that being said, I just want to jump right into this. So, at number 1, we have the Justice League of America, which is published by DC Comics, obviously. Now, the JLA are the world's greatest heroes. We have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, and many more, but those are the founding 7. And they've had many great adventures ever since their formation in 1960, although sadly not on the big screen. But you've got many good TV shows and animated films and video games that feature them, but the original comic book stories do vary in quality, as do most comic book stories. Especially ones that have been going on for decades, like the JLA. But I think that the JLA work the best, mainly because of their character dynamics. You know, you have the main 3 DC Comics characters, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and their lifelong friendship. You have the friendship between The Flash, Green Lantern, and Green Arrow. You have the camaraderie in their mythological sense between Wonder Woman and Aquaman, the female sorority ship of Wonder Woman, Black Canary, Zatanna, and the other female members. You have the animosity between Green Arrow and Batman. You have the, various different interactions that these characters have that really elevates their stories. It's not just there's a group of bad guys who want to take over the world and we have to stop them, or there's an alien invasion, or there's a despot from another universe that we have to stop. That's all well and good. It's just that the character interactions is what really sells it for me. And that's going to be the case for many of these characters. It's just that I tend to find the ones higher on the list a bit more enjoyable. So at number 2, we have the very first superhero team in comic books, which is the Justice Society of America. Now, the JSA is a lot more familial because on the JLA they're friends and they're colleagues, but that's about it. But the JSA, they feel like a surrogate found family unit, and I really enjoy that. Plus, they just have great characters. Then, for number 3, we have Marvel Comics' The Fantastic Four. And, yeah, once again, the family dynamic is really what sells it. And you get great villains like you have great villains like Doctor Doom. You have Galactus, the Mole Man, the Red Ghost, and all of these wonderful characters who, put themselves up against the team. But the FF are, not just superheroes, but they're also explorers. They're exploring space, different dimensions. They go deep sea diving. They just do whatever they can to learn more about the world and the universe so that they can share that knowledge with the world. And I think that that is very noble. And no matter what, they're always going to be a family, and they're always going to do the right thing. Then at number 4, we have the Teen Titans. And the Teen Titans were originally the sidekicks of the main heroes, but then they became their own team. And I think that it's a great metaphor for puberty and maturity and learning to be your own woman or your own man, and, you know, accepting yourself and your friends, you know, because, for example, Speedy, who's Green Arrow's sidekick, who's a founding member of the Teen Titans, he fell on hard times and became addicted to heroin, and it was only through the help of Green Arrow, but also his friends on the Teen Titans, that he was able to sober up and become a more stable person. And, you know, you get things like Raven's issues with her father being a demon and how that affects her, and Cyborg's relationship with his father and how, you know, in order to save his son's life, he had to turn him into a monster. And it's very tragic, and it's, you know, just like community, the found family, the fellowship, and, you know, the love of adventure and the lust for life is what really makes the Teen Titans so dynamic and interesting to read about. And the 2003 to 2007 animated TV show was just a great distillation of all of that into one, you know, singular adaptation, which I think that all future adaptations have really, you know, been paled in comparison to no detriment of their own. It's just that the, you know, 03 show did such a good job. Then at number 5, we have the Avengers. Now, the Avengers are what a lot of people before the movies had deemed the unsellables. Now, these are characters who had their own series, you know, of their own self-titled books, or were in anthology books that had been canceled. And, you know, you get characters like Captain America resurrected from the golden age of comics, and you get characters like the Hulk, whose series had been canceled after 6 issues. You get all of these misfits, and you put them together, and they just, you know, bring out the best in each other, and I really, really enjoy that. Plus, you know, their dynamic is really fun to observe. And I feel that the movies have really downplayed the camaraderie that the Avengers have with each other, because they all live, in the comic books at least, they live in the Avengers Mansion, which is Tony Stark, aka Iron Man's house, that he just, you know, turned into a base for them. He's like, hey guys, I, you know, outfitted my house to have all this cool, you know, tech for us to get better at using our powers, and, you know, all of these amenities. So if you want to live at my place rent free, feel free to. And I just feel that the movies really neglected that, because I don't know why, but it just is lacking. Then at number 6, we have the Legion of Superheroes. Now, the Legion of Superheroes is very interesting because they're a lot like the Teen Titans in that they're majority teenagers, but they're in the 30th century, and they worship Superman. So they, you know, have all of this knowledge of what happened during the Age of Heroes, and they have, you know, this drive to do good. And for a lot of the Legion members, they're instruments of social change, because there's a lot of xenophobic sentiments within the human race of saying we don't want aliens, you know, coming to Earth to live, because look at all the shit that happened 1,000 years ago. after Superman came to Earth. And they're like, whoa, 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 stop being racist, jeez. And so the Legion of Superheroes tend to use their clout as heroes to sort of teach people to be more accepting. And I think that that's very interesting because, you got a lot of freaks on this team, like the bouncing boy or the arm fall off kid. All of these heroes with insane abilities, using said abilities not just to punch bad guys in the face, but to teach people moral lessons. And I just find that very interesting. And that dovetails perfectly into number 7, the X-Men. Same thing, it's just I don't like the soap opera bullshit of the X-Men. I'm sorry to the X-Men fans, it's just I don't like that. Wolverine is cool. I am Canadian, so I'm legally obligated to like Wolverine. It's just when you got the same story over and over and over again, it's like, oh my gosh, just pick up new material for the love of God. But anyway, I enjoy the X-Men. It's just, it gets way too insane. Then that dovetails into Alpha Flight, again, Marvel's superhero team based in Canada. Legally, I'm obligated to enjoy them, but I haven't read a lot of Alpha Flight comics, but the ones that I have read, I've enjoyed, especially John Byrne's run in the 1980s, and I just think that they're a pretty diverse group of Canadians. We got an Indigenous man, we have the French Canadians, we have the English Canadians, we have people who are LGBTQ+, we have people who are heterosexual, we have people of all walks of life in Canada at least, and it's a great representation because they all work for the Canadian Army or government. So the government does have those laws to say, hey, you need to have people from all walks of life to represent Canada. And so I really enjoy seeing these characters interact and fight threats to my country. Then at number 9 we have the Invaders, which is the Marvel Comics equivalent of the JSA, because we have the Golden Age heroes from what was Timely Comics, which was then renamed to Atlas Comics in the 50s and then became Marvel Comics in the 60s. Timely Comics had characters like the Submariner, the Human Torch, Captain America, Miss America, Golden Girl, the Wizard, Black Marvel, the Vision, a few others whose names escape me. Feel free to tell me in the comments. And while you're there, please subscribe if you're new to this show and want to check out more content like this, and share it with your friends if they're interested in this sort of content. And I post this on Spotify as well as YouTube. So in the YouTube format, I'll have the links to my social media profile. So if you want to send me a message or get up-to-date information about the podcast or my main YouTube channel, which will also be linked, please feel free to click on those links. I'll also link my Patreon page and merch store. So if you'd like to support this show by buying a t-shirt or a coffee mug with the logo on it, or by getting early access to episodes of the podcast and videos and exclusive podcast episodes and videos, and sending me a message and I'll send you a thank you message, and you get all these benefits for as little as $3 Canadian per month on Patreon, and the shirt's not that expensive. And thank you so much for those who do click on that, or just for subscribing and sharing it with your friends. That is a great boon to my show. And finally, I wanted to go over to Image Comics for number 10 for their superhero team, the Guardians of the Globe, which appear in the comic book series Invincible. And Invincible is a unique take on superheroes because Robert Kirkman, who wrote the series, and Corey Smith, or Walker, please forgive me. I know his first name is Corey, but he didn't stay on the book for long, and then he was replaced by Ryan Otley. But the creators of Invincible love comic books and want to have their own unique spin on it because they know all the tropes, and with Image Comics, they didn't have as much censorship as DC or Marvel, so they're like, if you want to have blood and guts and sex, go ahead. Just keep it tasteful. And I really enjoy the Guardians of the Globe. Invincible and his compatriots are very interesting to read, very compelling characters, and the art top notch. But that's all I have for you today on this episode of the National Timely Action Hour podcast. Once again, my name is Aiden, and I am sincerely grateful for all of you for sticking around to listen to this show. And once again, please subscribe and share it and like it if you do enjoy it and if you're new. And please subscribe to the YouTube version of the podcast. It's just the National Timely Action Hour podcast on youtube.com. And thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.